With mandatory minicamp completed last week for the New Orleans Saints, the vibes have been reported to have been positive under new coach Kellen Moore, despite most experts predicting them to be a bottom-of-the-barrel team that's headed for a last-place finish in not only the division, but perhaps even the conference. There's optimism due to a long-awaited and quite frankly much-needed changing of the guard at both quarterback and head coach. Here we take a quick look at the somewhat new-look Saints' possible starting lineups on both sides of the ball, also looking at changes and upgrades that could take place along the way, along with the Saint decision-making brass, and just a total team outlook heading into the season. Of course, any team analysis starts from the top. During the Breeze and Sean Payton era, team owner and the now much maligned general manager and executive vice president Mickey Loomis were both lauded for their continued efforts to remain not only relevant but competitive by sparing no expense to put a contender on the field and putting the Saints into the perilous cap position that has persisted into current-day operations. Luckily, and whether it's fair or not, the surprise retirement of Derek Carr not only gave fans happiness to move on from a quarterback situation that became untenable, but was serendipity for Loomis as his seat was getting hot due to not only a perceived mismanagement of the salary cap, but a denial in the fact that the team clearly had to rebuild. But with an unexpected $30 million being given back to the team, it's already put them in a better position than they've been in for years, and has given the organization the breath of fresh air that it's needed. In addition, the situation also looks to have given Loomis a wake-up call that he seems to be learning from, as was noticed during this year's NFL draft, with no expensive trade-ups or cap-breaking free agency signings afterwards. This has given the Saints over $28 million in cap space, and the team actually being in the black at this early stage is like a foreign language for fans who've watched them straddle in cap hell for years. When allowing assistant general manager Jeff Ireland and a good scouting department to take the reins as the primary decision makers for personnel, along with deferring to what appears to be a smart young coach in Kellen Moore, will hopefully give the team a brighter future, even if it takes a few years to get there. On paper, head coach and Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Kellen Moore appears to fit exactly the change the team needs at this time. Young offensive-minded coaches like the Rams' Sean McVay and the Vikings' Kevin O'Connell have set a trend of what teams are looking for to rebuild. Moore has shown that he can fit and tailor his offense according to the personnel he's given, as he successfully coached Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert in passing-based offenses before switching to a more run-based offense that featured all-pro running back Saquon Barkley behind a powerful offensive line. The thought is he will look to bring that same approach here in New Orleans, as they spent their first pick on the trenches by drafting offensive tackle Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Hopefully this gives whoever lines up under center a chance to have a running game to rely on while they continue to develop. Moore will be the youngest coach in the league, and hopefully will be given a chance to grow and mature while the roster turnover takes place, and he forges his own impression on the team. Though Doug Nussmeier will be on board as offensive coordinator, Moore undoubtedly will be the engineer of the offense, and fans are excited to see what game plan he'll install and who he has under center when the season starts. Speaking of the offensive side of the ball, much of the focus has naturally been on the quarterback position. The success of the offensive side of the ball will hinge largely on the offensive line. So far in camp, both second-year player Spencer Rattler and rookie second-round pick Tyler Shough have impressed. In this mock starting lineup, Rattler gets the nod due to the reported progression he's shown in camp, while giving Shough more time to develop. But the situation is fluid and interchangeable. The offensive line rotation of first-round pick Kelvin Banks at left tackle, Trevor Penning at left guard, All-Pro center Eric McCoy anchoring along with Cesar Ruiz at right guard, and Talise Fuaga moving over to his college position of right tackle is promising and has the potential to make this position group a strength for years to come. Weapons will include the still terrific Alvin Kamara in the backfield, a healthy Chris Olave, and speedster Rashid Shaheed, along with whoever wins the number 3 receiver between either Cedric Wilson, Bub Means, and off-season addition Donovan Peoples-Jones, providing the tough catches over the middle. And at tight end, Juwan Johnson is expected to have a breakout season after his contract extension, and Foster Moreau proved to be a reliable depth piece as both a pass catcher and blocker last season. The offense may actually do well this season and improve upon its 21st ranking from last year. And second-year running back Kendre Miller and rookie Devin Neal will compete for snaps behind the best running back in the team's history. While do-it-all offensive weapon Taysom Hill has been seen at practices without a brace on after his season-ending injury last year, the hopes are that as he enters the twilight of his career, Moore can utilize him as well as he's been used before, and that he's healthy enough to do it. The offense can potentially be a pleasant surprise this year if everything clicks. However, there may not be as much optimism on the defensive side of the ball. Moore hired former Chargers head coach Brandon Staley to spearhead the defensive turnaround, bringing in a coordinator who had the NFL's #1 scoring and total defense with the 2020 Los Angeles Rams. He will implement a new base scheme, switching to a 3-4, as well as some different types of coverage ideas than what New Orleans had been playing. There are questions regarding his effectiveness, as his tenure as head coach for the Chargers did not end well. One of the team's most glaring weaknesses defensively came against the run last season, and they ranked 30th overall as a total defense. The Saints traded for a run-clogging defensive tackle, Devon Gaucho, and signed a versatile safety in Justin Reed to help turn things around. They also re-signed edge rusher Chase Young and used 4 of their top 6 draft picks on defensive players to inject some youth into an aging defense still led by Cameron Jordan at defensive end, All-Pro Demario Davis, and safety Tyrann Mathieu. The hope is that the secondary can be led by corner Kool-Aid McKinstry, but more help is needed in that area, as return signing Isaac Yiadom will anchor the other side, while 4th-round pick Quincy Riley hopes to compete with him on the outside with Alontae Taylor starting in the slot. With 4 sacks in the first few games of last season, Taylor plays an exciting brand of football, though his role may have to be redefined under Staley. Kicker Blake Grupe returns after connecting on 87% of his kicks last season, with Charlie Smith set to compete against him, while Matthew Habel is slated to return as punter, averaging just 40 yards per punt. If there's anyone whose job is in jeopardy, it's him, and the Saints have added rookie punter James Burnip from Alabama to compete for the starting job. Prior to his injury, Rashid Shaheed provided nice and exciting contributions on punts, scoring twice on punt returns. With players such as Velus Jones now signed, the team may opt to try to preserve Shaheed for the offensive side of the ball exclusively, or at least use him more sparingly, particularly on kickoff returns on Jones, and depth receiver Dante Pettis may rotate duties. Team needs still include possibly another big-bodied receiver and possibly a proven corner to round out the secondary room. Regardless of if the team is rebuilding, they'll still look for building blocks going forward, and with a third-place schedule along with competing in the not-too-strong NFC South, anything is possible, and the prediction here is a 6-11 third-place finish, but with fans still excited about the new generation of Saints football.